On this episode of Ghost Hunters International, the team investigates stories of death and torture at a 900-year-old castle.
She had fallen in love with the wrong guy. The family brought her in alive.
The voices of the past echo through time.
What the hell's going on down there? Holy.
And the hunters look for suspects when Joe Chin is attacked in the dungeon.
Looks like teeth marks.
Then GHI returns to Rio to explore a cultural center built on the remains of a slave cemetery.
It sounded like somebody was like right there.
Have the unfortunate souls beneath this building carried their chains into the next life?
What is that noise from the attic?
Here we are in Denmark. Brandy is going to give us the details on what exactly we're doing here.
Hey guys, tonight we are going to be investigating Dragsholm Slot, which is Denmark's oldest castle. It dates back to about the early 13th century, and it has a pretty expansive history. It changed hands a lot throughout the centuries, and it served not only as a fortress and a castle, but as a prison as well. There have been numerous reports by female employees at the castle that claim to have been physically touched by unseen forces throughout the location, with emphasis in the cellar that used to be the dungeon. This place is massive, and it operates as a hotel, and we have arranged it so that we do have full access to the entire location.
Hey guys, for this investigation, we'll also be the only guest staying here.
All right up at the end of this road, you can see this thing.
Oh, it looks pretty cool.
All right, man, let's get in there and find out what's going on.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Rob, how are you?
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome. Thank you. I shall bid you a hearty welcome to Dragsholm Castle. When you look around, you will see that this square building was actually a stronghold, and it was not conquered until the Swedes in 1659. In 1937, it was bought by the family who is still managing the place here. Now it is a super luxury hotel. Things we cannot account for take place, and I'm going to tell you about them.
All right, shall we head in?
Yes, let's go in.
Okay.
In 1912, when they tore down a piece of that wall, a skeleton appeared. And we started the research and found out that that was a noble lady called Celine Bayon Gyldenstern, daughter of the commander here, Mogens Gyldenstern. And she had been so unlucky that she had fallen in love with the wrong guy, a peasant, and she got pregnant. And that was a shame, a disgrace on the family. 4 members of the family brought her in alive.
The ghostly sightings, are any of them attributed to this young lady?
We have had people here, a cigar in their mouth and hats on, came in and said, just a skinny child. They had a car accident when they left the castle here.
All right, shall we head on?
Yes, this way. This is our game rooms. The Danish kings used to come here and go hunting. You can see there is a crucifix there. We have a small altar here. And it was normal that you knelt down here. You could pray for good hunting. And one of the night watchmen saw here a person kneeling. It was a woman. And he stood looking there. He glimpsed. She was gone.
Did he provide a description of the woman he saw?
She was lying here in a cloak with a hood over her head.
All right, shall we head up?
Yes. This is one of the king's rooms. A lady had her grandchild with her on a holiday here. She had put her grandchild to bed, and this little girl was lying there. There in the doorway, she saw a transparent figure of a woman standing with her arms crossed over her breast, looking on the sleeping child, and the apparition had gone.
Do we have any idea who this woman may have been?
She was called the Grey Lady. Her name was Katrine Louise Jensdatter. She was killed during the war with the Swedes in 1659.
Can we ask what exactly happened to her?
They had raped her, they had tortured her, they had killed her.
And yet the apparition seems somewhat friendly. It's watching over children and being protective.
Let me tell you something. This is what we in the old days called a guarding angel.
Well, shall we continue?
Yes.
Okay.
This way into the dungeon.
In the dungeon, I have been slapped in my back when I went down there. One day I was standing on the staircase and suddenly something did like this. And then something was just tickling my cheek. First I thought it was a fly or something like that, but I just stopped and turned around and there was nothing behind me.
Well, gentlemen, we are going to end our tour here.
We'll go get the rest of the team, get set up, and see what we can do, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think tonight we have a real good hybrid of intelligent and residual activity. You have a lot of these noises and sounds and visions that seem to be trapped in the past, but you also have people being touched. So I think it's definitely going to be a challenge for us based on the stories that we've been told.
Okay, folks, that's everything set up. We have a camera in the garden room. We have a camera pointed toward the King's Suite, where this lady is seen looking at the children. And on camera number 3, we're up in the office. And on camera 4, finally, we have a camera pointing toward the prayer area in the games room.
We got a lot of stuff to cover tonight, so good communication, know where everyone else is as much as possible. Try and keep it quiet. The place is pretty huge, but sound can still travel. All right, let's get out of here. Lights out.
EVP, this is Dustin and Barry, upstairs next to the remains of the female who's walled up here.
EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomenon. We record ourselves asking questions and then go back and listen to the tape to see if any voices show up on the recording.
Are you angry with your family for what they did to you?
We are willing to listen to your story.
I have to admit that your love story is probably one of the most tragic that I've ever heard.
If you were able to understand me, have you any regrets?
Would you be able to give me your name? It must feel as if you were treated quite unfairly. All you did was fall in love, and this was the price that you had to pay for it. Well, we thank you for your time. And we're sorry for what happened to you.
So the claims down here, so feelings, you know, of being touched and just, I guess, uneasiness overall. So let's see if we can experience that.
Okay.
Joe and I decided to do an EVP session down in the dungeon. I was also running the full spectrum, and I was taking shots in hopes of capturing something. We understand that there have been claims by women that have been down here that say that they've been touched.
Please, if there's anybody in here, could you touch one of us? You must be angry being in the dungeon for so many years.
Make your presence known. Make a sound. Approach us. Can you not find your way out of this dungeon?
I thought I heard a voice. And it said, like, go or God.
Are you hearing it mostly from your side of the room?
Yeah.
Joe said that he heard a whisper, and it sounded like the word go. I was taking full spectrum shots towards that area. I didn't see anything show up on the small screen, but hopefully we were able to capture something, but we won't know until we pull it up on the laptop. All right, Joe. I don't know. I think it's time to wrap this one up.
Joe and Brandy ending EVP session in the dungeon of Dragonsloom Castle. Hey guys, we just came from the dungeon and something happened down there. I don't know if something happened to my hand, but something stings.
Oh.
And I'm taking a look at it, and it looks like teeth mark. I think I got bit. But something stings.
Oh.
And I'm taking a look at it, and it looks like teeth mark. I think I got bit.
What?
Right on my hand, right there. There's like 2 indents of teeth.
Brandy and I were down in the dungeon. As I was coming up the stairs, I felt a sting in my arm, and I noticed that I had a bite mark on my arm.
Oh, I can see it right there.
Joe, you can see the indentation.
Did you notice this when you were down there? Did anything bite you?
I didn't feel anything until we were coming up to Command Central, and on the way here, it was stinging. So I showed Brandy, and when I first showed her, it was more predominant. It was more red, you could clearly see the bite. And now it's fading, but I can still feel the sting a little bit and see some of the teeth marks.
Now, you notice anything when you were in the dungeon?
I didn't
lean on anything?
feel it at all, and I wasn't leaning on anything. I just had my flashlight and the digital audio recorder in my hand.
So we got pictures of it, the whole 9.
Yeah, I took a picture with a digital camera.
What we got to make sure is that we are documenting as much as humanly possible. All right?
All right.
Let's go. All right, Angela, you ready?
I'm ready.
This is where the child was sleeping. EMF set up. Angela and I went to the King's room to investigate reports of a female apparition watching over a baby. We started an EVP session. But the first thing I would ask you to do is demonstrate that you're here. Make a knock or a bang.
So if you could please do something within this room for us to confirm that you are here.
You wouldn't want anything negative to happen to either of us, would you? I have nothing against strange timing.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't like that the one question we get a knock from is
negative.
But just to make sure, do you want something bad to happen to me? Are you expecting something bad to happen to Angela? What was that?
I heard it. Rob asked if there was anything negative that was going to happen to me tonight, and we had a faint knock come from the couch area.
How you doing over there?
I'm okay. I'll admit, the knocking sound, it kind of caught me off guard. I didn't expect that. Is there someone or something in this castle that wants to harm me?
I don't hear anything.
No.
If there is someone here with us now, start making this room darker. Holy. As I ask that question, the entire room starts going pitch black.
I know. I was going to say.
I wasn't even going to say anything, but I was like, what just happened? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the moon's really bright tonight.
I ran to the window, took a look, and you could see these dark clouds crossing over the moon. But I'll tell you what, it did throw me for a second. Okay.
End EVP session, Rob and Angela.
EVP session. Dustin Barry in the games room.
We know there's a lady who's supposed to be seen here. She's seen praying.
Is there anybody here with us now?
If the lady of the house is present, please let your presence be known.
Is there anyone who haunts the walls of this castle? We ask. We humbly ask. Where'd that come from?
Came from this side over here.
What did it sound like to you?
Like a metal sound, like a chink.
Yep. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
It sounded remarkably like the holy water bowl was hit or something was dropped into it. There seemed to be no evidence of anything lying around the bowl or in the bowl. That would certainly have made that noise. That little cross, take him down for me. All right. Take him right down, set him on the table in front of you. I ask the spirits to come forward once again. I know here you're called phantoms, apparitions, ghosts. Do you approve of the fact that we took Jesus, this chair,
to my right just rattled against my knee. The cross was taken down, and it felt like the chair to my right started to vibrate against my leg, almost anticipating what we were going to say before I got the question completely asked. What were you just going to ask?
Were they annoyed that we took down the How It Happened Again? It's just done it again. And I went back to address the same question, and again, the chair started to vibrate against my right leg.
And you're not moving your leg. There's nothing for you to push?
No. Do you mind the fact that we took down the image of Jesus from the wall? It gives us a sign that you want the crucifix placed back against the wall. Apart from the wind blowing, that's all I can hear.
Yeah.
Put it back up again, Dustin. We gave it a go the third time, and unfortunately nothing happened. But we wanted to make sure, with the greatest respect, that the cross went back up in the wall to where it once belonged.
Ending EVP session.
What the hell's going on down there?
Let's go find out what that is.
What the hell's going on down there?
Let's go find out what that is.
Barry and I were coming up the stairs, and we heard what sounded like a raspy sound. That door just creaked open and then closed. And I see a door just open and close. So it was kind of freaky. I gotta give that door a good check. Pretty good draft coming in there.
So on further investigation, we found that through that doorway it led into an empty room with a window slightly ajar that was causing a draft.
That explains the door.
All right, let's get the lights on and meet back at Central Command. So Dragsholm Castle, this was a place with a lot of stories, and I've never had an investigator come and tell me they were bitten before. So now it's time for everyone to go back to their rooms here in the castle, get some rest, and see if personal experiences pay off with evidence. Good evening.
Hello, welcome back. Has it been a wonderful night?
A little early to tell. We need to head back to the rooms, get some rest, and go through all the equipment.
I'm looking forward to hearing from you again. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for your stay here.
It's our pleasure. Thank you. No problem.
Good.
See you in a couple days.
We do. Thank you very much. And now we have had Ghost Hunters International here in our castle, and the most wonderful thing is that they might have recorded things which I have never been able to prove.
Now that we're going into the analysis of Dragsholm Castle here in Denmark, there was a lot of experiences that were happening to people. So we want to pay particular attention to the recordings of sound and see what's going on. Joe, if you would cover the mini DV for me and the thermal. Angela, if you would cover the digital recorders for me.
Okay.
And Branda, if you would cover the DVR.
Absolutely.
And I'll cover the wireless and the full spectrum camera.
All right.
Okay. There's something I want you to have a look at here. Brandy, Joe, this pertains to where you were in the dungeon. Now, we're looking at the full spectrum. You see the light that's hanging off the ceiling?
Yes.
If we put this into quick succession, you'll see the light moves. There's something strange going on there that the light should just slightly move back and forward. I think we should take the opportunity, go back over and run some tests of our own to see if we can reproduce this or understand what's going on before we bring this through to the client. With that in mind, let's get our stuff together and we'll go and start testing this. staying in the hotel allowed us actually to go back to location and see if we could understand what was actually going on at the time.
All right, Barry, so this is the light.
The small full-spectrum camera was being used by Brandy Green and Joe Chin. They were in the dungeon, and the first thing that caught my eye was there was a slight movement with the light that was hanging from the ceiling. So we went back and recreated that. So we'll just set this camera up, and Joe, if I could get you, once we have the camera set up, just to go upstairs.
Okay.
And walk through. We'll see if that's what's causing this light to move.
Okay.
Okay. When you're ready to go, just give us a call.
Okay. Okay, I'm up the stairs. I'm going to come down the stairs and then over towards the left side of the landing.
All right, go ahead. The light down here is moving.
Down here, obviously, from your perspective, it was in the dark. It was impossible to see that. Yeah, we can safely call that one debunked.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back upstairs and we can all meet back in the analysis room.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Let's push on and see what else we find.
All right. Okay, guys. Barry, this is you and Dustin in the game room. If you guys could take a listen for me, tell me what you think. Okay.
Wow, that's really loud.
Niels, how are you, sir?
Oh, thank you.
Good to see
I'm fine. What about you?
Very well, very well.
Did you have a splendid night?
Absolutely. As you know, you were kind enough to take us around on the tour, show us where all the hot spots, as it were located. We came in, we started setting up our equipment, so we make sure that we're covering every area that you mentioned. Here's something strange that happened. Joe Chin and Brandy were down in the basement.
Yes.
They head upstairs. As they're heading out of the area, Joe Chin says, you know, what's the matter with my arm?
Oh.
He looks down at his arm, and we're going to show you exactly what he saw.
The hairs?
Not the hairs. Take a look in this area right here.
Yes.
Do you see this semicircle?
Yes.
You can see the arc there.
Yes, I can see that. Well, in the dungeon.
In the dungeon.
Could have been one of the deceased prisoners who had been very hungry and tried to snap them.
You did mention they were pretty hungry down there. They saw something fresh to eat.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. I wasn't able to personally find anything that he could have been resting it on.
Yeah.
Am I going to go out and say that that was a prisoner or a spirit or a phantom? No, that's too much of a jump for me. But was it something interesting that happened that we don't have a real explanation for and wanted to bring to you? Yes, absolutely.
I must confess, I haven't the slightest idea of what it could be.
We just have to chalk it up to strange.
Yes, that is strange.
Now, going back to the King's room.
Yes.
Angela and I heard a lot of knocks that seemed to correspond to questions we were posing at the time.
Knocks?
Knocks.
Are you expecting something bad to happen to Angela? What was that?
I heard it.
Couldn't it be a footstep with a hard heel in the floor?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because this is one example, but this happened to us several times.
I see.
You know, it seemed to really correspond.
Another thing that we're going to play for you now, I was with Barry, and we were up in the games room, and we were doing an EVP session. We were asking questions, trying to get responses. I want to play for you what that was.
Is there anyone who haunts the walls of this castle in general?
What was that?
That sounds like if you tap the mic on top.
Yes, yes.
But nobody was holding the mic. We had it laying down at the time, because that way we don't get any interference. After we had got this double knock on the microphone, I was sitting with my back to the prayer station. Barry's at the other end of that long table. And we're asking questions, and we're going back and forth. When I heard something very distinct over my left shoulder, I want to play that for you right here. I wasn't sure what that sound was, but I knew it was definitely over my left shoulder where that prayer station was. Went up to take a look at it, and you know how they have the bowl there for the receptacle for the holy water? If you touch that bowl against the side, it makes that exact sound. The interesting thing was there's nothing else there. There's nothing that fell into the bowl.
Now, They go back, oh, let's hope we got that sound, because they looked and there was nothing that could have touched it, and something perhaps even stranger appears.
Where did that come from? Came from this side over here. That was pretty clear. Yeah. What did it sound like to you?
On the mic?
Yeah.
I see.
Now, they don't hear this.
No.
This huge bang on the microphone, they didn't hear a thing. You can see they go on with their conversation. It wasn't until we reviewed the tape that we heard that.
Well, I can't come up with any good explanation.
Really makes you think, huh?
Yes.
That wasn't the only thing that we got from that room. There's something that we're going to play for you.
Dustin puts down his camera and leaves the room. And there's something that comes back on the recording of the camera, but you're going to have to really try and listen carefully.
That whisper sound there was quite interesting.
But as you can see, there's nobody there. I was downstairs.
Barry was next door, not speaking to anyone.
Yes.
You can hear a whisper.
Yes.
We can hear a whisper.
Yeah.
Can you make anything out of it? Is there able to detect words or phrases?
No Danish words. No Latin either. It was too short.
So, Niels, given the amount of evidence we were able to collect, we're not able to come back and say we have proven that this place is haunted.
No.
But certainly I think that we can add to your stories with the evidence that we were able to collect that definitely suggests that there are some strange goings on here.
I don't doubt that.
And we want to thank you so much for having us here, taking us on the tour, and giving us a chance to look around.
You have been very, very welcome. I thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Our pleasure, absolutely.
Shall we go?
Yes, thank you. Those sounds have never been recorded before. And this is something very interesting, because Ghost Hunters International might have picked up things which we have never heard about or thought about at all. I am extremely grateful to Ghost Hunters International.
So what did Niels think of what you had to tell him?
He took everything pretty well.
He brought us in. He said, you know, I've heard all the stories. I've never seen anything. I want to see some real evidence. I think he was impressed.
Good.
I really think that sound in that ceramic bowl in the prayer center, that was clear as day. I think out of everything, that was the one piece that sold me on. There was something going on there.
Yeah, I like that one, too. That was real interesting to me.
All right, Barry.
Go ahead, Rob.
Another one for the books, my friend. And
What Brandy tells me, we got something big coming up.
so I hope everyone's hanging out for this one.
We're all ready to go. Welcome to Rio de Janeiro. I'm really excited for this one, and I'm thinking that Brandy has really got a big case for us on this one.
We will be investigating the Jose Bonifacio Cultural Center. It was constructed in 1877. It's believed to have been built on a slave burial ground. Apparitions of slaves have been seen in many areas of the location. Strange noises, including footsteps, as well as chains dragging near the winding staircase, have been heard, as well as conversations between people that aren't there.
It's right up here on your left. This is it. Hello, sir.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine. And you?
Dustin.
Hello.
Hi, Barney.
Hello. Welcome to Centro Cultural José Bonifácio.
Could you tell us about the history of the Cultural Center?
Oh, yes. This house was built by Dom Pedro I. And later on, it was discovered that the house was built under a cemetery for slaves. When they were brought from Africa, they didn't survive the trip. That's why people say that we may have some paranormal activities in this place, which I would like you to tell me if it's true or not.
So could you take us on a tour of the Cultural Center and show us where the activity is alleged to have occurred?
Yes, right. Let's go up. Well, here on these stairs is the very first place where one of the apparitions has happened. People claim to see a sad man sitting here, and we don't know who he is or why he's here.
There's activity up here on the second floor?
Oh, yes.
Na minha sala, no meu local de trabalho.
When I'm here alone at night, I see shadow people running by, and I hear chairs being dragged across the floor.
This is the picture of Cândido, who was a sailor who rebelled against the Brazilian Navy to stop the beating and the bad treating of the sailors at the time. And right beyond here, Candido is said to appear right here on this place, walking here. There is also, if we can come over here, these are the stairs here that takes you up to the attic. People say they feel something.
Now, when they get this feeling, do they actually, see anything here?
No. People only say that they feel something strange when they have to use the staircase.
All right, so where are we heading next?
Shall we go downstairs to the courtyard? In this courtyard, people say there has been apparition mainly on these 3 windows of dark figures when no one is there.
All right, well, it is getting dark, so we want to start getting set up so we can follow up all these stories for you.
All right.
A lot of the places where the operations are seen are going to be tricky for us because there's a lot of turns and curves. I think handycams are going to be vital here.
I'm a person that loves visual evidence, or at least trying to catch visual evidence. This place is chock full of it. We got a bunch of different full-bodied apparitions, so it should be a good night. See if we can't catch something. Looks good. So Barry, the rundown.
Camera 1 is looking into the courtyard. Camera number 2 is pointing down the corridor. And camera number 3 is pointing toward the staircase and also covering the top balcony as well.
Okay, perfect. Let's grab equipment and get the lights out.
Angela, Rob, and Dustin, EVP session, staircase.
We know that this building is built on the remains of people that were never put to rest. Were you one of those people?
Are you here with us tonight? Are you upset and angry because you were not given a proper burial? And is that what makes you sad?
To give us any sign that you're here, anything you can do to communicate with us. Is this stairwell of some personal significance to you?
Are you here with us tonight?
We understand that this may be a place of pain and sadness. Are you still upset about what happened on this land before this building was built?
Let's go to the room above us and see what we can find up there.
Okay. Can you...
Did you sound like somebody's on the stairwell above us?
Angela and Dustin and I were walking up the grand staircase when we heard a sound coming from the top of the stairs.
Hey, come on. Let's go to the room above us and see what we can find up there.
Okay. Can you...
Did you sound like somebody's on the stairwell above us?
Dude, that was a little odd.
Nothing.
That was really odd. All right, wow.
Yeah, it's doing it again.
Yep.
It's just because it's so old and rickety.
Oh, man, that actually really had me going. All right, let's keep going. If you hit the right step at the right way, it'll make the top steps sound as if someone's walking down. I'm glad I could debunk it.
This time of the night, you're meant to see black shadows in those rooms. And see if there's anything that should appear on the EVP. Try some camera work as well. EVP session, Brandy and Barry in the steps leading to the art gallery. There we go. Did you hear it? Mm-hmm. There was some noises coming from behind us, which led into the courtyard as we were setting the equipment up, pointing toward the staircase. I want to go and have a look here and see what this is. I want to explore. There seem to be some bizarre noises coming from that direction. Brandy, turn the rig around. Take the shots. We'll review the equipment and see if there was anything that it picked up during that particular moment.
This is a big, old, spooky building. It's one of the oldest buildings in Rio. They had massive amounts of human bones found when they're getting ready to put foundations in. So, story goes that young girl's in here and she sees someone walking past. There shouldn't be anyone here. The gate's locked. All these doors are locked. Little girl sees the picture of Candido and says, that's the guy.
So he was in this room?
They saw him out the window. Candido, with all due respect, I understand that you've had some fun, made some things happen, and we would like to ask you to do the same here. So instead of making a noise, is it possible for you to move an object? Probably the easiest thing would be to open or close any of the doors or windows in this room.
Candido, can you please come forward to us? What was that? Did you hear it? I heard that. What was that? That thing totally hissed.
I think that's like a badger fighting the cat. All right, Candido, we're getting sounds outside of all the wacky animal life here. What we really need from you is to make a sound in this room.
Candido, can you please come forward to us? Let us know you're here with us.
All right, too bad we didn't have any reports of mysteriously ghostly hissing we could debunk.
Yeah.
I'm at the back staircase. Dustin and I were asking several EVP questions, as in, is there anyone who can help you? And questions such like, and see if we were going to get any type of response.
Are you associated with the remains that are buried beneath this building? Is this a place of great pain? Is there something that keeps you here? Dude, there's like chain sounds coming from up there.
What is that noise?
From the attic. Sounds like there was movement and sounded like chains.
Let's see. Dustin and I heard the sound of chains in the attic. We went up to investigate to see if we could get any responses from EVP up there as well.
Should be able to make that sound again. Were you brought here in chains?
It sounds like there's noises coming from up there.
That's a bell. That's outside somewhere. That's downstairs noise. That attic area produced several sounds for us throughout our time here. Are you looking for help?
Okay, Dustin, I think we'll end it at that.
All right, everyone, we have investigated this place.
Let's get the lights on and get packed up.
We covered this place as completely as we could. My own personal experience tonight was during the investigation with Barry in the back stairwell. I know I heard chains up in the attic, so I'm really hoping that that'll come through during the EVP session.
During the investigation, everything was very, very subtle. We were getting little tidbits of stuff coming through, but not enough to carry on that we could identify as paranormal phenomenon. So we're going to have to pay particular attention to our video and audio on what we capture here today. Angela, have a listen to this. This is myself and Dustin at the rear staircase. We had mounted the 360 mic on the rig, so it was pointing up the direction toward Dustin.
Okay.
There was a strange sound in the attic.
Ready. Ooh, that's really odd. Sounds like chains.
sir. How are you?
Hello.
Good to see you.
Hey, Ben.
How are you? Excited to know. What did you find?
We come in, you were nice enough to take us around, show us where all the different reports of activity occurred. We listen to the stories, we use that to base our investigation, get a good starting off point.
Okay.
We followed up, brought out all our equipment. So, strange feelings, things going on that you couldn't explain. We call those personal experiences. Dustin and I were walking up the stairs. As we stop about halfway, we hear what sounds like someone starting to walk down the top of the stairs. So obviously, we look up thinking we're going to see one of our teammates, except there's no one there.
Yeah, come on. Let's go to the room above us and see what we can find up there.
Okay. Okay, can you...
Does it sound like somebody's on the stairwell above us?
So we think to ourselves, okay, let's see if we can't recreate this. We can't accept this as a ghost. We're able to find the exact spot in which when you hit that step, it makes the same sound on the top step. So it turns out it was just sound carrying.
So there were a lot of noises that we heard here during the investigation. There was one sound I want to play for you. Barry and I were in the back stairwell, and I'm going to play that for you here now.
Okay. The sound of chains.
And that's what we thought too, especially hearing the stories that we were told about, people hearing that here, the fact that slaves are buried beneath this building. But we did some further investigating, went up into the attic, and there's some open vents up there that do allow for outside sounds to come in. And then when we listen to this again, you can hear a truck drive by right after that chain. The acoustics really carry throughout this whole place. So we present this to you so that when people hear things like that, perhaps you can kind of point it out to them and help pinpoint where these sounds are actually coming from.
Well, but what about the fact that people reported having heard their names being called?
Where there's a tragic history of what happened here.
Mm-hmm.
People start to say, that place is haunted, right? Mm-hmm. And as the stories start going around and around, you get these kind of occurrences in which people, they're putting together a couple of outside noises at the same time and putting it into something that makes sense. It's called matrixing, audio matrixing. With the acoustics of this place, there were times where we would hear something that sounded like someone talking in the room with us. But when we investigated it, it was actually an animal outside.
Okay. You were not able to capture images or figures?
Unfortunately, we were not able to capture anything in the video that would indicate that these spirits were seen where we thought they might be seen.
Okay. This is all very good. I can tell people what has been done here and what they might feel they are listening to. Actually, maybe some kind of influence or some kind of noise coming from the outside, isn't it?
I agree. Yeah, I think that's our opinion, 100%.
I want to thank you so much for coming over here, and I hope you have appreciated the location.
This place is awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Had a great time.
Thank you.
Let's go.
So it was very good having the G8I team here, because at least I myself can now be a little bit more secure when people come to me and tell that they felt or heard strange things happening here, because I will be able to tell them, well, we have had the G8I team here, and nothing could really be proved.
Yeah, I mean, with this cultural center, they get a lot of kids in there who may be scared to visit, and I think at this point, Eladio can say to them, look, we've had a team in, here's the explanation to what's going on. And so for people not to be scared of it, man, I'm happy with how it worked out.
Absolutely, man. That'll help them out a lot.
I'll tell you what, man, I love Brazil. I'm having a lot of fun here. Can't wait to see what the next case is.
I hear you, brother. Looking forward to it.